Hello Portland, hello America, this is Dave again, baldguylimo.com. So anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit today about what's happening a little bit in the world with COVID-19 and how it's affecting everybody. It is, as I record this, it's 5:30 a.m. on Thursday, March 26th, 2020. So we are knee deep in a social distancing. People call it a quarantine. It's not really a quarantine. It's just, don't get too close to people. That's all it is. It's not you must stay home or you will be shot. That's a quarantine. What's not a quarantine is what we're going through, at least as far as here in Oregon's concerned. I can't say about anywhere else in America or in the world. But people call it a quarantine. It's the lamest quarantine ever. I mean, if I can go outside and tend to my garden, that's not much of a quarantine. If I can go to the grocery store and pick up supplies, that's not much of a quarantine. What you don't want to do is, take a walk where there's a lot of people. Today or tomorrow, I have to go to the hospital and get my blood drawn. I have to get some blood work. And what are you going to do? But the thing that struck my attention mostly the last few days is a report I read yesterday online from the Associated Press about how smaller nations are now starting to not export food. Specifically, Kazakhstan was mentioned by name. They are the world's #1 supplier of wheat flour, apparently. And they've said, we're not going to export it anymore because they want to keep it for their citizens. So all those people who walked around and said, America first, why are we helping every other nation? Well, now other nations are doing their nation first. They're not going to be exporting it to America. Why? Because Kazakhstan first is what they're going to say. So I don't want to hear anybody belly aching about how they can't get wheat flour or whatever's being exported. China is talking about closing the border about rice. Rice is eaten all over the planet, and they produce more rice than anyone else. So that could drive the price of rice up, actually. China first is what they're saying. So, and I know everybody in America is all like, America first, because that's how people think. They don't think about their neighbor, they think about themselves. Anyway, regardless of that, this is why we should be growing our own food. If you have the space, you need to grow your own food. You need to go to the dollar store and buy little packets of seeds. I have tons of them. I have tons of seeds. I'm willing to share with people. If you want to come out and pick up some seeds from me, I'll be more than happy to. Get that garden going. I've planted some cilantro, I've planted corn, I've planted tomatoes. I'm just waiting for the weather to get a little warmer to plant some more. That's it. It's very simple to garden your own stuff. You get some good potting soil and some good pots. I got a greenhouse out back. You saw the video. You need to grow your own food. Don't be dependent on another country for growing food. I've been saying this about oil for years. We're so married to oil. We're dependent on countries that hate America for oil, just to heat our homes, just to run our cars, and so on and so forth. And the fact is if we can create electricity by using something else, then I say we do it. And I say the same thing with food. If we can grow the food ourselves, that way we don't have to worry about being dependent on anyone else. Don't be dependent on food like you're dependent on oil. Anyway, I'll get up off my soapbox at this point. Other than that, we've been very fortunate that we haven't had to dip into any of our preps yet. So far our preps are still there. I still have about 30 days worth of prepped food sitting there ready to go in case we are truly in an SHTF situation. I don't believe this is an SHTF situation. I think there's a lot of people on YouTube right now who are trying desperately to convince you this is an SHTF situation because it's what we call clickbait. You'll click their likes, the advertisement will run, and guess what? They'll make more money from YouTube. Don't fall for it. There's one joker who goes by the name Canadian Prepper. This guy, Seriously, go to YouTube and just put in Canadian prepper in there and look at his headlines. Even before coronavirus, he was talking about how the world's ending. And really, if you really think that, you're freaking insane. The world is not ending in America. This is horrible. This is awful for the people who have COVID-19. But this is not the end of the world. We will get through this. If you don't believe so, there's something wrong with you. All right, there's something definitely wrong with you. Anyway, get back off my soapbox. We're fortunate that we haven't had to dip into the preps. We go to the grocery store a couple times a week. I was at Winco yesterday. I noticed I go to the bulk food section to get some almond flour because I've been doing the keto diet for a while because my blood sugar was way out of control and I need to lose a few pounds. And so I decided to do keto 5 days a week. And one of the staples for keto is almond flour. You make everything out of almond flour. And I went to the bulk food section and all the bulk foods were gone. All the bins were empty. So I didn't ask. I'm assuming it's because they don't want contamination. They want to slow the spread of the virus. They also probably don't want the liability. That can get you sued. And they just don't want to deal with that. So I can't have almond flour until this is all over, apparently. What else? They were very low on pasta. Of course, toilet paper is always in a row. But toilet paper, they seem to have toilet paper for about half a day. Either everything's been ramped up or people have enough right now and they're just not buying any. Or maybe a combination thereof. But the toilet paper, I still buy a package just to make sure that we don't go without, because we don't know, hey, if the people who work in these grocery stores, if they get the virus, who's going to sell the groceries to you? Seriously, if everybody in the grocery store is sick, they're just going to lock the door. And you thought you saw a panic before. Oh, mama, you ain't seen nothing yet. Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet. That's what's going to happen. You got to make sure that those people, the people who run those grocery stores, those are the people who are keeping a country afloat right now. All right, no billionaires. The people are stocking the shelves. It's really funny. People online would always make fun of the people stocking the shelves, like you better go to college or get a real job or learn a trade so you don't end up stocking a shelf for a living. And look who's running America, the people who stock the shelves. So for everyone who does that, everyone who works, I've worked retail, I never worked a grocery store. I can't imagine how horrible it must be right now. And I'll tell you, I walk up to them as they're stocking the shelves and I say, thanks for coming into work now, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have any food. So anyway, we go to the grocery store and we get our supplies for a good week or so, and then if there's a toilet paper there, then I'll pick up a package. And I want to make sure. I want to make sure I don't run out. And I want to make sure I can use it for barter, because I can trade. Look, I've got 40 bottles of this stuff. There's dust all over it. Look at that. I got 40 bottles of wine sitting here. 40 barters. 40 individual barters, literally. I can barter wine for supplies all day long. But toilet paper appears to be the currency of the apocalypse, so to speak. So be that as it may, I'm picking up extra toilet paper and I pick up extra supplies, and we'll be picking up some food and such. I read in a newspaper article online a while ago that this is going to hit its peak, or they believe it's going to hit its peak in the East Coast on the first week of May, and it's predicted to hit its peak on the West Coast the last week of May, which means things are not going to go back to normal until probably June. So I don't know what's going to happen with the schools. The kids aren't anywhere near done with school for the year. My high school daughter has another trimester. My other daughter has a half a semester left. And then of course there's all the proms. It would suck to take the proms away from seniors, just because of this. But again, what are you going to do? The other thing I kind of want to address is hoarding. The word hoarding has become a negative term in this world, probably because of the TV show Hoarders. But if you actually look at the definition of hoarding, it is basically buying or owning a large quantity of a single item with intention to use it in the future. Hoarding is not a bad word. Hoarding is not a negative. Hoarding is not something you should look down upon. Just because someone has 100 rolls of toilet paper, you can call them a hoarder. That's not a bad thing. Just because they have more toilet paper than you. Just because someone has 3 refrigerators stocked with food, that doesn't mean a bad thing in this situation. I hate the word situation, but it's true. Look, people are going to get what they can to survive. As far as I'm concerned, I've said it before, I'll say it again. People should have taken care of this a couple months ago, like most of us preppers were. But you know what? If Joe Blow down the street gets to the grocery store before anyone else and buys the limit of toilet paper before Susie, next door neighbor, does, that's on Susie. I got into a Facebook argument with someone the other day, yesterday, because she was upset that the stores at the grocery stores were not helping her enough because she's disabled. And most of the grocery stores are open an hour early for the disabled. Well, they only allow 1 package of toilet paper. Well, bring people from your family. Have them each stand at a different line. They don't know any better. Just be inventive. You gotta be inventive. Fun times we're living in. Anyway, I think that's it for the day. You'll get to listen to me complain about stuff later. You have a good one. I'll update you all later. BaldGuyLimo.com.